The Right of Palestine and the History of Israeli State Terrorism. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. In the history of the world, we find many events where power, arrogance, and tyranny crushed innocent people, where nations were uprooted, cities reduced to rubble, and humanity left bleeding. But among all these tragedies, there is one conflict that stands unmatched, one of the most painful, unjust, and prolonged struggles humanity has ever witnessed. And that is the struggle of Palestine. This is not merely a territorial dispute. It is a test of humanity. It is a battle between truth and falsehood. It is a story of oppression, darkness, resistance, and the unbreakable hope of the oppressed. Palestine is not just a piece of land, it is a history, an identity, a sacred connection, and the spiritual heartbeat of three major religions. But today, this blessed land has been drowned in blood by the occupying Israeli state, a state that has proven itself more ruthless than any known terrorist organization in the world. A state that has made oppression a policy, brutality a system, land theft a right, and mass murder a so-called defense. This is why millions across the globe call Israel the world's largest state-sponsored terrorist entity. But this story does not begin here. Tyranny does not suddenly appear. Behind it lies decades of planning, ideology, and international conspiracy. The creation of Israel was not an accident. It was a calculated political scheme. The real history of Palestine. Palestine has been the land of Arabs for thousands of years. The Canaanites, Jebusites, Philistines, and later Arab Muslims lived here for centuries. Jerusalem, Al-Quds, has always been the land of prophets, the first Qibla of Muslims, and the blessed site of the night journey Miraj. Throughout history, Jews were never the majority here, nor did they ever possess a sovereign state on this land. This is an established historical fact. For centuries, Muslims, Christians, and Jews lived here in peace, until the late 19th century when the Zionist movement began its plan to colonize Palestine. The Balfour Declaration, the beginning of injustice. In 1917, the British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour issued a declaration that changed the fate of millions. He promised the land of Palestine, a land that Britain did not even own, to Jewish settlers. This was the first and most devastating violation of the rights of the Palestinian people. After this betrayal, Britain facilitated the mass migration of European Jews into Palestine. The Palestinians protested peacefully, but the world turned a deaf ear.
1948, the greatest Arab catastrophe, Nakba. In 1948, the State of Israel was declared, but for Palestinians, this was not independence, this was the nightmare of annihilation. What was the Nakba? 531 Palestinian towns and villages wiped off the map, over 15,000 Palestinians massacred, 100,000 Palestinians expelled from their homes, thousands of women widowed, thousands of children orphaned. It was the day Israel introduced itself to the world as a terrorist state built upon blood and destruction. Palestinians were expelled, their homes locked and seized by Israeli forces, and many of them remain refugees to this day, their keys still preserved, hoping one day they will return. Israel's systematic state terrorism. Israel does not simply occupy, it runs an entire system designed to erase Palestinians from their own land. 1. Land theft and illegal settlements. Israel has taken more than 80% of Palestinian land. It has built hundreds of illegal settlements in the West Bank and Jerusalem. Extremist settlers frequently attack Palestinians, burn their crops, destroy property, and take over homes under military protection. -2. Killing of children and women. According to the United Nations, Israel is the only state in the world that systematically targets children under official policy. Thousands of Palestinian children have been killed, detained, disabled, or traumatized. -3. Bombing of hospitals and schools in Gaza. More than 80% of hospitals destroyed, over 300 schools bombed, ambulances targeted. These acts constitute war crimes by every definition of international law. -4. Siege on food, water, and medicine. Israel turned Gaza into the world's largest open-air prison. People are deprived of clean drinking water, electricity, supplies, food, and aid. This is not collateral damage. It is deliberate cruelty. -5. Silencing the media. Israel targets journalists to hide its crimes. Many Palestinian journalists have been martyred while reporting the truth. International law, Palestine's legitimate right, global laws, human rights charters, and UN resolutions all recognize Palestine is a legitimate state, and Palestinians have the right to their land. According to UN General Assembly Resolution 3236, Palestinians have the right to self-determination, right to a sovereign state, right to reclaim their occupied land. Yet powerful nations remain silent. The war on Gaza, the peak of horror. In recent years, Israel launched the deadliest attacks in modern history on Gaza. In just weeks, over 30,000 Palestinians were killed, most of them children and women, entire neighborhoods reduced to dust. This was not a war, this was genocide, broadcast live for the entire world to witness. These acts define state terrorism. This is not a conflict, this is systematic oppression. The unbreakable spirit of the Palestinian surprise ultimately destroys the oppressor, not the oppressed. The resilience of Palestinians is a miracle in itself. Homes destroyed, yet faith in shaken, children orphaned, yet hope alive, mothers wounded, yet courage unwavering. The world is stunned by the strength of this nation. Why the world calls Israel a terrorist state? Because Israel stole Palestinian land, built illegal settlements, killed children, massacred women, bombed hospitals, destroyed schools, blocked food and medicine, targeted civilians, violated every global law, committed crimes against humanitarian acts. Define state terrorism. This is not a conflict, this is systematic oppression. The conclusion: Palestine will rise again. No matter how strong tyranny becomes, no matter how many weapons the oppressor holds, the cries of the oppressed always reach the heavens. One day, Palestine will be free. One day, justice will be restored, and the world will witness that. Truth always triumphs over falsehood. Palestine belongs to Palestinians, historically, legally, morally, spiritually, and humanly. No power on earth can change this reality.